Hello, my friends. Welcome back to American Lingo Academy. I'm Fiona, and today we're going to learn another 10 common English phrasal verbs that native speakers use all the time. These phrasal verbs are very useful, and I promise, by the end of this video, you'll understand exactly what they mean and how to use them naturally in your own conversations. Now, before we jump in, let me remind you that phrasal verbs are everywhere in English. They're combinations of a verb and a particle, like a preposition or an adverb, and together they create a completely new meaning. Sometimes the meaning is obvious, but often it's not what you'd expect from the individual words. That's what makes them tricky, but also really fun to learn. Today's phrasal verbs are going to help you sound more natural and fluent when you speak English. So grab a notebook if you want to take some notes, and let's get started. Number 1, ball up. When we say ball up, it means to form something into the shape of a ball or to crumple something up. You usually do this with paper, fabric, or other flexible materials. It's a very simple action that we do all the time without even thinking about it. For example, imagine you're writing a letter by hand and you make a mistake. You might ball up the paper and throw it in the trash. Here's another one. If you're doing laundry and you pull your socks out of the dryer, they might be all balled up together. You might hear something like, "I balled up the old newspaper and used it to start the fire." Number 2, balls up. Now, balls up is quite different from ball up. This is a British expression that means to make a mess of something or to do something very badly. It's like saying you messed up or ruined something. In American English, we might say mess up or screw up instead, but you'll still hear balls up sometimes. For example, let's say you're trying to bake a cake for your friend's birthday, but you forget to add sugar and the cake tastes terrible. You could say you really balled up the recipe. Here's another one. If someone is giving you directions to their house, but they tell you the wrong street name, they've balled up the directions. People often say, "I totally balled up that job interview by showing up an hour late." Number 3, bang about. Bang about means to move around making a lot of noise, usually in a careless or rough way. Think of someone who's not being careful with how they're moving or handling things. You might hear this when someone is being noisy in another room. For example, imagine your upstairs neighbor is rearranging furniture late at night. You might say they're banging about up there and keeping you awake. You might hear something like, "The kids were banging about in the basement all afternoon." Here's another one. If you're looking for something in your garage and you're moving boxes around noisily, your spouse might say you're banging about out there. Number 4, bang around. Bang around is very similar to bang about. It also means to move around making noise, but it can also mean to treat something roughly or carelessly. You might use this when talking about objects that are being knocked around. For example, if you have a toolbox in the back of your truck and you're driving on a bumpy road, the tools are banging around back there. Here's another one. Let's say you're moving to a new apartment and the movers aren't being very careful with your furniture. You might worry that they're banging your stuff around. People often say, "My laptop got banged around pretty badly in my backpack during the hike." Number 5, bang on. This is a really useful one. Bang on means exactly right or perfectly accurate. It's like saying something is spot on or exactly correct. British speakers use this expression a lot, and it's becoming more common in American English too. For example, if your friend guesses that you spent exactly $50 on groceries and they're exactly right, you could say their guess was bang on. You might hear something like, "Your prediction about the weather was bang on. It did rain all day." Here's another one. Imagine you're trying to remember what time the movie starts, and your sister says it's at 7:30. When you check your phone and see that's exactly right, you can tell her she was bang on. Now, before we continue with the rest of our phrasal verbs, if you're finding this lesson helpful, please give this video a thumbs up. It really helps other English learners find our content. And if you haven't already, make sure to subscribe to American Lingo Academy because we post new English lessons every single day. Your support means everything to us. Number 6, bang on about. Bang on about means to talk about something repeatedly and at length, usually in a boring or annoying way. It's when someone keeps talking about the same topic over and over, even when others aren't really interested anymore. For example, let's say your coworker just bought a new car and they won't stop talking about all its features, the great deal they got, how fast it goes, and so on. You might say they're always banging on about their new car. Here's another one. Imagine your uncle always talks about how much better things were when he was young. At every family dinner, he bangs on about the good old days. People often say, "My neighbor keeps banging on about how loud my music is, but it's really not that loud." Number 7, bang out. Bang out means to produce something quickly, often without much care for quality. You're focusing on speed rather than perfection. This could be writing, music, or any kind of work that you do rapidly. For example, if you have a report due tomorrow and you haven't started it yet, you might stay up late and bang out the whole thing in a few hours. You might hear something like, "The pianist banged out a quick tune before the real concert started." Here's another one. Let's say you're a freelance writer and you have several articles to finish before your deadline. You might bang out 3 articles in one afternoon just to get them done on time. Number 8, bang up. Bang up has a couple of meanings. Most commonly, it means to damage something by hitting it or crashing into it. You might bang up your car, your knee, or anything else that gets hit or injured. For example, if you're backing out of your driveway and you accidentally hit your neighbor's fence, you've banged up both your car and their fence. Here's another one. Imagine you're learning to skateboard and you keep falling down. You might bang up your knees and elbows pretty badly. People often say, "I banged up my shoulder when I fell off my bike yesterday." Number 9, bank on. Bank on means to depend on something or to count on something happening. When you bank on something, you're confident it will happen and you're making plans based on that expectation. It's like putting all your trust in something. For example, if you're planning an outdoor wedding, you might bank on the weather being nice that day. You might hear something like, "I'm banking on getting that promotion so I can afford a bigger apartment." Here's another one. Let's say your friend always gives great advice about relationships. When you have a problem with your boyfriend, you bank on her to help you figure out what to do. Number 10, bargain down. Bargain down means to negotiate a lower price for something. You're trying to convince the seller to reduce the cost through discussion and negotiation. This is very common when you're shopping at places like flea markets, used car lots, or anywhere that prices aren't fixed. For example, if you see a used bicycle at a garage sale marked for $100, you might try to bargain the seller down to $75. Here's another one. When you're buying a house, your real estate agent will often try to bargain down the asking price on your behalf. People often say, "I managed to bargain the mechanic down from $500 to $400 for the car repair." And there you have it, my friends. Those are 10 incredibly useful phrasal verbs that will make your English sound more natural and fluent. Remember, the key to mastering phrasal verbs is practice. Try to use these in your own conversations this week. Start with just 1 or 2, and gradually add more as you become comfortable. Don't forget to give this video a like if it helped you learn something new today. Share it with your English learning friends. Leave a comment below telling me which phrasal verb was your favorite or most surprising. And make sure you're subscribed because we post new videos every single day to help you improve your English. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next lesson.